there, good afternoon and welcome to today's Mitek monthly customer onboarding drop-in demo. So today we just want to give you a quick tour of the platform so you can see how Mitek helps to balance the equation to solve the twin demands of compliance and customer experience when it comes to doing KYC, whether that be at point of customer onboarding or later on for a re-verification or an authentication exercise. So let's get started. If you have any questions at any point today, you can send your questions in through the GoToWebinar control panel. And if you have any issues as you go through the event today, then please just drop us a note on the chat and we'll look after you. Okay, so let's have a look. We are going to explain what the Mitek customer onboarding platform is. So we call it MyVIP, the Mitek Verified Identity Platform. For those of you familiar with Mitek, you will know that we acquired a company called Who earlier this year, and we've rebadged the Who platform as MyVIP, the Mitek Verified Identity Platform. And our secret sauce is based on three pillars, that of powerful orchestration, simplified configuration, and an optimized user journey. The reason we've designed the platform this way is that over the last umpteen years, there's been proliferation in the forms of identity technology, in the forms of KYC technology. And the logical conclusion of that is that our clients, they want one platform to orchestrate all those different identity technologies and to decide which ones they want to use on a customer by customer basis, but also to make those technologies work together in harmony, in concert, in other words, like a conductor orchestrating those different services. The second pillar, simplified configuration. What we mean by this is how we want to make it really easy for our clients to go ahead and in the client portal, configure and deploy the platform so that they don't have to have an army of developers behind them, but are the masters of their own destiny. We like to empower product managers, compliance managers, heads of fraud and risk to determine and build their own journeys themselves without having to have development overhead to do it. And the last pillar is that of what we call optimized user journeys. So in other words, how we make it easy for the end user to go through the process as well. So a bit more in detail on those. These are just some of the kinds of technology that we bring into the platform that our clients can pick and choose from. Customer A might have a harder journey, a larger journey than other clients. They might have further technologies. Some might have database checks. Some might have document validation. Some might have a video agent interview. Others might have open banking, and some customers might have a shorter, simpler journey. In terms of configuration, what we're doing here is we are making it really easy for our clients to determine what journey for which customer, how to configure the screens, how to configure the UI, how to customize the UI, what alert rules to set up in case a user passes the process. But there's something interesting we think our client might want to take a look at, how to configure document rules. So a client can easily say, hey, if a user gives me an ID document that's within 2 months of expiry, tell them, sorry, that's no good. Can you please upload a different one instead? In other words, we enable that, and we enable our clients to configure that in the platform without that having to be written in code. Journey settings, we give a complete suite of UI that's optimized for mobile and for desktop, and our clients can really easily determine which parts of the UI appear and which don't, and they can be in control of their own journey. So the configuration element is a very important part of the MyVIP platform. I will dig into that in a second. And then lastly, the third pillar, of course, is the user journey. And what we do here is we give really good, refined UX to the users as they go through the process in terms of guidance to help them get across the finishing line. We'll give them real-time feedback if they do take an image that we're not sure about and we don't like the look of it. because we don't think we can use it for processing in terms of document validation or facial biometrics, we'll tell the user straight away, tell them what we don't like about the image and help them get through the process. User outreach tools. Life is never simple 100% of the time. Sometimes people get distracted by having to get that report done for their boss or have to make dinner for the kids. So that account opening process might have to wait. So we have a great piece of UX there called Save and Continue Later that the user can pause and come back, and we'll outreach the user to remind them to come back and finish their KYC journey. So that's just a brief overview of the platform. Let's get started in this demo. I'm now just going to switch screens. Okay, there we go. So what we want to do with today's demo is to give you an idea of just how easy it is to configure and deploy an identity verification process. Sometimes that process is deployed for customer onboarding. Sometimes it might be deployed for a re-verification exercise later in life, where perhaps the user wants to change their email address or their physical address, or they need to reset security. So in other words, this can be an onboarding, a re-verification, or an authentication process. So let's get started here. You can see it's really easy to configure to orchestrate the different processes that the user is going to go through. So here I'm choosing liveness detection, passport, ID card, driving license. The user can submit any three of those, but if you want, you can make it mandatory that they submit a driving license. We can use travel visas, residence permits. Pass cards are particularly useful for youth journeys. The pass card is the UK approved age of verification card scheme. So the user can also be asked to provide an address document to prove their address. Clients can choose a generic proof of address option, or they can be very specific to say, actually, we want a tax document or a bank statement or a utility bill. Digital footprint analysis is a way to garner further confidence that the user is who they say they are. And that's what we would do there is we gain the user's consent to access these digital identity sources, and we measure them and interrogate them to see if we can trust that data, see if we like that data, and then how that data is corresponding and corroborating to all the other data in the identity verification process. So attachments here. This is something that's kind of like ancillary to the KYC process, but what we find is our clients really like it because it saves them hundreds of man hours a month in terms of getting hold of these documents. This might be for a source of funds process, in which case the user might be asked to provide a pay slip, or it might be a business account opening process, in which case the user is asked to provide their business license, their certificate of incorporation, and so on and so forth. But the reason this attachment process saves lots of man hours is it means that the user is prompted to do it through the MyVIP journey. And it doesn't mean that our clients have to deploy hundreds of man hours a month of using call centers to chase their users to provide this information before account opening can be completed. The user can be asked to provide a payment card. This is used very much by our online gambling clients. A point of payout, what they want to do is check that the user is in possession of the payment card that was used to deposit the funds into the account to begin with, and the user is asked to provide a specific card, and if they can't provide that card, then it goes off to an exceptions process. This is another thing that saves hundreds of man hours a month for our clients in terms of automating some of the processes. Open banking, here our clients can ask the user to log into their bank account, and what MyVIP does here is to receive the data with the user's permission back from their bank account and analyze it and classify it. It helps towards the identity verification process. This is also going beyond the identity verification process to help gain insight into affordability, perhaps. Questionnaires is a new part of the platform. This is something that our clients can choose to deploy, perhaps if they wish the user to attest to where the source of funds are coming from to make a large investment, or for our online gambling clients to make a large deposit. So that's how the orchestration is done. Let me show you now some other configuration options. So this is a really good jumping in point here. Our clients can come in and customize the look and feel of their MyVIP journey. So as you might expect, really easy to change colors, really easy to change the shapes of the buttons. So we can see this button up here at the moment, it's got square edges. If we just change this value here, so now we can see it's got nice little round edges. Clients can upload their own custom icons. They can change the footer. They can change many of the different elements. And the reason this is important is that your user feels that this MyVIP journey is a seamless extension of your website, of your app, and they're not being handed over. Clients that really want to control things right down to the final pixel, here clients can upload their own CSS and do it that way. So that's customization. We believe at Mitek that talking the user through the process is very, very important. KYC isn't just about keeping the bad guys out, it's about helping the good guys in. And so therefore it's about really trying to maximize the percentage of people that get over that KYC finishing line. And that means talking the user through the journey. So here are different templates that our clients can use to talk to the user, or if they want, they can upload the HTML instead. Here is the SMS templates. So again, really easy to configure, no coding needed whatsoever. Right, let's have a look at some of the journey-led configuration tools. So rather than have your developers code the screens for you or build the different stages of the journey, our clients can simply hide or choose to show different pages of the journey that we've built, and of course that's rendered in our client's brand. Here, our clients can use a feature called a start page. This is really useful for small credit unions, building societies, IFAs, accountants, perhaps who don't have an online application process. Instead, they can stand up an online application page using the MyVIP platform. The user is directed to this page, they come in, fill in their details, and it's the user's details that are then used to trigger, to initiate that MyVIP request. Again, all aimed at saving time, making onboarding, making digital identity verification much easier, but guess what? Without needing developers behind you to do it. It's a really clever part of the system. Obviously, a business's first mandate is to grow. Its second mandate is to grow in a profitable and risk-free manner, and that means there's that eternal battle between the people who have a number, who have to help grow the business, and the people who have to keep the business risk-free. And so this is a really good area where our clients can come to make their own compliance rules, to keep the compliance managers, the MLROs happy. So for example, here, I could click, actually, I'm not going to accept expired proof of identity documents, although some clients are happy to choose that. These days, it's pretty hard in this cold weather with all the horrible railway strikes. It's pretty difficult to get to the passport office to get a new passport, and it costs a lot of money in a time when people's budgets are fairly stretched. So some clients choose to accept expired proof of identity documents. But here, what clients can also do is say, right, if I'm receiving a passport, if it expires in less than 1 month, reject it. If it's a driving license, for example, if it expires in less than 6 months, then reject it. So really granular compliance rules can be made here. The same applies to the proof of address documents. So whilst our clients will want a bank statement to be really, really current, we might say, hey, it has to be within 3 months. If our clients are asking for a tax document, for argument's sake, they might say, actually, guys, that's okay. As long as it's within the last 11 months, we're happy with that. So there's really easy ways to drive compliance rules into your business, and to do that in the client portal here without recourse to developers. Another really interesting part of the system here is the decision rules. So this is where our clients can come in to decide what they're going to do with the results of all the data that we extract from the from the system. So here, for example, we can create a new rule to say, all right, so if the biometric score is less than 50, then we want to unconfirm that user and say, sorry, we're not accepting customers unless the biometric face score is greater than X. Or clients could create a refer rule, which means that, let's say, for example, if the KYC results in terms of the name, the count of the number of times that name and date of birth have been verified is less than or equal to 1, then in that case, a certain secondary identity verification process has to go on. Or our clients can create a caution rule. And what the caution rule means is that MyVIP platform passes the user, but it then creates a workflow that somebody in the team client side has to have a look at this verification, has to have a look at this result to say, right, actually, I've had a look at it on the balance of probability, I'm happy to accept it. So this really is all about the maybes and the no's and creating a really, really easy workflow so that users can be verified very, very quickly. So the settings in here for your developers, your techies to play with, or if you don't have developers or techies, then you can just come into the platform here, download the results yourself, or if you do have developers, then you can have the results in the MyVIP journey sent to a secure FTP server, or you can use our API to recover the results and then insert those results into your CRM system yourselves. Here's the questionnaire building process. So here's one I made earlier. This is the source of funds questionnaire that I mentioned earlier. Suppose there's a large purchase of shares being made, or there's a large deposit or wager being made in an online gambling account. Here, clients can create a questionnaire that's within the MyVIP journey, and this is asking the user, hey, please describe where your source of funds come from. And it's really easy for our clients to create different boxes so that the questionnaires are easily customized. So now let's have a little look at the journey. So this is what we call the hub page. This is where the user starts. There can be a couple of different pages before this. The first page that users could see is what we call the welcome page, and that's got a personalized custom message from the client to the user to say, hey, we need you to go through the MyVIP process before we can open your account, but that text is really easily customized. So here the user can jump into whichever part of the process they want first. Now, this looks quite a long process because for the purpose of this demo, be thrown in as many different components of the MyVIP journey as possible. But frequently, some clients only want to grab photo ID. Other clients want to do liveness, photo ID, proof of address, so this page here is dynamic. Depending on the risk that the client sees in that particular user, then that determines what this page looks like. So some users have a shorter, simpler journey, and other users are asked to do more work based on the risk our client sees in them. Another way that we make this journey simpler is to integrate, to, if you like, orchestrate the work between the database check and the document validation process. So sometimes our clients contract with us for database checks, whether that be PEPs and sanctions, or whether it be credit reference agency, credit reference bureau database checks, confirm name, address, date of birth. But what we do there, and sometimes they contract with us, sometimes they bring their own existing data contracts through the MyVIP platform. But the value in that is that based on the results of the initial database check, that means that the subsequent KYC journey is determined based on the results. So a typical scenario might be that Customer A provides name and address and date of birth checks from the database process, in which case there's only perhaps a liveness check as part of the My VIP journey. But suppose Dodgy Dave comes along and he fails the database check, and she's from a high-risk zip code, postcode area, then in that case, he's asked to do photo ID, proof of address, liveness check, online profile, and open banking. So that's orchestration in practice. Therefore, you're making the database check and the secondary KYC processes work nicely together. So, for example, I might choose to provide my passport, in which case I come in here and I then get given a little bit of guidance as to how to go through the process. User can upload it from their device, or of course, if they're on a mobile device, then they can take a photo with it. I'm now just going to change the shape of my browser so that you can see that once I've changed the shape of the browser, you're now looking at the mobile UI, and it's really nice responsive design that scales depending on the size of the device that's being used. I'm going to go back. We're actually going to go through this process today, but here's the proof of address, similar sort of process. The user is taken through a little wizard. They have to check that the document is addressed to them. It's also possible to remind the user here that they have provided an addressed document that's within a certain date range. Profile analysis, where the user can help give higher confidence in their identity by connecting to one of these digital footprint sources. This is the payment card process. The user is prompted to upload a payment card that ends in 3129 for argument's sake. Banking process, where the user is asked to connect to their bank account. Again, that provides quite a lot of rich data that we can use to analyze that user and make great decisions about their identity. So that's the process. I'm now going to go into the results and show you one that I did earlier. Okay, so this is the results dashboard here. Our clients can see all the different users that they've put through the process. And I'm going to choose to look at this one here, this David Pope. Check this is the right one. Yeah, it is. Okay, so here we can see the results of the verification confirmed. That's good. But here we lay out lots of different information about that user and what we've determined about them. We can see this user submitted two documents in total, one ID document, one address document. And we can see that from those document sources, we've been able to verify the name and address and the name and date of birth. Also, actually, there's a little bit of a warning that we want our client to look at here. We can see there's a warning on the watch list. I'll come back down to that in a minute. Down the left-hand side is all the important information, who the user is, where they were in terms of geolocation when they went through the journey. And this is what we call the scope. What was it that the user was required to do? What identity confidence threshold did we ask them to achieve? And so on and so forth. Here we give a range of identity confidence indicators based on the quality of the face match or the quality of the geolocation. And in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and go into a slightly different request that's probably a bit more interesting. Let's have a look at that one. Okay, yeah. So the difference between the previous one I showed and this one is the presence of the initial database check in the process. You can see here that now my name and address account is 22 instead of 2, and my name and date of birth account is 18 instead of 2. And I've still got those same warnings from the watch list and the credit reference data. We can see here my face match confidence indicator is 87%. We can see here a little history of all the different sources that were provided. We can see that my credit reference data at this address stems back to 2008, my driving license issued February 2018, and so on and so forth. Here is a little summary of the work that was done on the ID document, the driving license that was used for this verification, the data that was extracted, and the confidence score that MyVIP is giving to that particular source. Likewise, here's the confidence score in the proof of address document based on the matching, the proofing of the address data in that address document as it relates to the address data that the user provided when they started the application process. Here is our PEPs and sanctions data. So we can see here that this is a rather colourful result. You can see that I am a politically exposed person. You can see I'm insolvent, and you can see that I have alternative aliases. So obviously, thankfully for me, none of this is true, but this is just a spoofed result to show you the kind of information that PEPs and sanctions checks can provide to you. And our clients can then click into this, go in and do further qualification to decide if they still want to service and onboard that user or not. Here's what we call our data block. This is where we search the bureaus, the credit reference agencies, to see if we can confirm name and address and date of birth by them. And we can see here that I've got lots of name and address matches, lots of name and date of birth matches. That's all good. But the reason there's some warnings here is coming back to the watch list up here on 3 different watch list sources. Here is a little velocity report that shows how often we've seen this user come through the MyVIP platform. Really useful if you want to understand why a user is hitting you so often. Here is the history of that velocity. And then here finally is the activity log. So this is really important from an audit trail process. Our clients want to be able to prove to their regulator that in fact they've verified their users and they know exactly what process those users have been through and what the user has done at each stage. And sometimes users need a little bit of help getting through the process. And so here, the client would come and look at where the user got up to, communicate with them and say, oh yeah, Mr. Pope, you've done the ID document, but I can see you provided an address document, but we rejected it because it wasn't recent enough, and so on and so forth. That really helps the users through the process. So that was a very quick half-hour demo of the Mitek verified identity platform. I will now look to see if there's any questions that have come through from you guys that I can answer. Whilst I'm looking at that, in the meantime, please do submit your questions through the GoToWebinar control panel. Okay, that's good. We've got some questions come in. So I'm just going to stop sharing this screen and we'll go back to okay, so the first question is, does this platform work in multiple countries? Yeah, absolutely it does. I think last count, there was something like about 4 countries in the world that haven't been through the MyVIP platform, and those being little countries like the Comoros Islands or the Galapagos Islands. For a lot of our clients, and MyVIP is used by the likes of NatWest or Virgin Money, here, very big banks in the UK, or big online gambling sites like Betfred. And a lot of, for our banking clients, a lot of their new to bank clients are in fact new to country clients. So that could be people from Australia or New Zealand or India or France or the US, or pretty much anywhere in the world. So yeah, it's very much a tried and tested platform that's verified people from all over the world, millions of users per year. Okay, the next question is, what happens with the identity document that a user submits? Okay, so I guess there's 2 parts to answering that. So the first part is that our clients can get at the ID document in a number of ways. When I show the results in the client portal, it's easy to reveal the document and show the document there and then. Or our clients can download the results to their computer, or our clients can actually use the API to summon the results and all the ID documents back to their CRM system. But the second part to that answer is that we don't keep the ID document. We have a strict data deletion process that determines how and when we delete ID documents. We're not keeping your user's data. We minimize the amount of data that we retain, just enough to form an audit trail, but we don't keep clients' ID documents. Okay, so I think that was the only questions we've got for today. And we're right on the half-an-hour mark. So I'd like to thank you all for attending today. If you have any questions, do please email us. I believe there is a email address here, yeah. So if you have any questions, you want to find out more about the platform, you want to have a little proof of concept, you want to ask some more technical questions, do please drop us a line, and we'd love to answer your questions. So thank you very much, and we'll see you another day.